Namaste, Swagatam. Shubha Shri Krishna Janmashtami to all. At Brihat, we understand temples as being central to Hindu civilization and culture. They have long functioned as integral ecosystems that have protected and nourished not only the spiritual and cultural, but also the socio-economic fabric of Hindu society. Therefore, on this auspicious occasion, we begin a new series of conversations at Brihat Mridanga. This will be an exploration into the various facets of Śrī Guruvāyūr kṣetra of Kerala, its beloved deity, Śrī Guruvayurappan, and the entire ecosystem that surrounds this magnificent temple. About the temple. Śrī Guruvāyūr kṣetra is a popular temple dedicated to Lord Guruvayurappan and administered by the Guruvayur Devaswam in the small town of Guruvayur, Kerala. It is one of the most important and loved kṣetras of worship for Hindus and bhaktas of Shri Krishna. This kṣetra is also known as Bhūloka Vaikuntham, the holy abode of Bhagavan Mahavishnu on earth, that is Bhūloka. To speak to us, to take us into the various facets of Guruvayur, we have with us Śrī Radhakrishnan ji, a bhakta of Bhagavan Guruvayurappan. Radhakrishnan ji, also known as RK, is a yoga practitioner and a qualified yoga Ācārya from Yoga Vahini. He lives near Guruvayur, Thrissur, Kerala. His keen interest in exploring the space of inner work has been harnessed at the Ritambara Ashram at Kotagiri, Coimbatore, through a continued engagement with the Yoga Sutras, Mahabharata, and Ramayana. He has been associated with the Institute of Indic Wisdom for over 2 years as well. Radhakrishnan ji has also been learning the Yajurveda for more than 5 years and teaches the Veda as he believes strongly in sharing these learnings. While deeply involved in the learning of Indic scriptures through auditory means from his childhood, he took up deeper study after taking an early retirement from senior corporate leadership roles after serving the industry for 3 decades. He is a qualified expert on operational excellence through the Lean framework, and he is extremely passionate about creating frameworks for emerging leaders and young generations of the world. Aside from all of this, RKG enjoys listening to Carnatic music. He loves singing, spiritual discourses, and Sampradaya bhajans, and he keenly follows Indian politics with a very keen interest towards a better Bharat. Namaste, RKG.
Namaste,
a very warm welcome. So happy to have you with us for this very first episode of the series that we are co-creating on the Guruvayur temple. We are waiting to hear from you in detail about this sacred kṣetra of Bhārata. To begin with, we would like to listen from you about the uniqueness of this vigraham, this form of Shri Krishna at Guruvayur.
Namaste. Thank you, Brihat, for having me with you all on this wonderful initiative. And I'm feeling blessed to be speaking about Guruvayur Kshetram and Guruvayurappan. Thank you, Lakshmi, once again. I would like to start with a small little offering to Guruvayurappan. Pitambaram Karavirajita Shankha Chakra Kaumodaki Sarasijam Karuna Samudram Radha Sakhayam Atisundara Mandahasam Vatalayesham anisham hridi bhavayami. To speak about Guruvayur, Guruvayurappan, it's not just a temple, it's not just a deity, it's a phenomena. It's an happening to be experienced. If I have to just give a few words about the Vigraham, when you look at it, the Vigraham has got Chaturbahu. Chaturbahu means 4 arms. So it's a Mahavishnu Swarupam. Right? On one palm, he's holding the conch, the Panchajanyam. Another one is holding the Sudarshana Chakra. On another palm, he's holding his mace, which is called Kaumodaki. And on another one, he's holding a lotus, which has a stem that reaches his feet. So when I look at the lotus, I look at it as if I surrender to him at his feet, he's going to hold me like a baby for the rest of my life. Now I'm going to be very secured is my feeling when I look at the lotus. So this Chaturbahu Vishnu form, as the legend goes, was worshipped by none other than Devaki and Vasudeva, the biological parents of Shri Krishna, in the Dwapara Yuga at Mathura. Of course, Krishna was born in Mathura. He moved away to Vrindavan. And then later, to make the Kamsavadam happen, he comes back to Mathura. And then he doesn't return back to Vrindavan. He stays in Mathura and he takes up the worship of Lord Mahavishnu in this form, on this deity. He then moves to Dwaraka as the king of Dwaraka, which is the current Gujarat. And then he rules the kingdom of Dwaraka. After the avataram of Shri Krishna, happens a pralaya. During the pralaya, this Vigraham gets washed out by the water that enters the country. It later is found floating on the ocean by Vayu Bhagavan and Guru Bhagavan, Brihaspati. So they both pick this Vigraham and they do a Ācārya, Akasha Marga Sancharam. And they found this spot where the temple stands now to be the most sacred spot to consecrate this Vigraham. Although it is in a Mahavishnu Chaturbahu form, the consecration, the Prana Pratishta, is Shri Krishna in Balaka form. So it's a Balaka Krishna over there.
Very beautiful. I found 2 different bhavas there. One is where you explain that he is the protector and he makes the bhakta feel very secured. And he is also he's also in the Balaka Rupam. So he's also very endearing in that sense.
So we will talk a little later about how endearing he is and how each of us as bhaktas experience it in different times within our own lives.
Yes. To each bhakta, he would be very different. We'll come to that.
Not only with each bhakta, in a bhakta's life is different at different times.
Different at different times.
Yeah.
Absolutely. With that, I would like to take us to the next question. So, given the very beautiful introduction that you gave us, how would you like to trace back your connection with Bhagavan Guruvayur?
My connection goes back about 58 years when I was 1 year old, when my parents brought me for the first time to this Punya kṣetra, Mahakṣetram. And the first morsel of rice that I ate was the prasadam of Śrī Guruvāyūr. So that is an offering that is given to Śrī Guruvāyūr as a chorun. It's called the chorun, means the first meal of a baby. The baby at about age of 1, maybe 6 months to 1 year is brought out there, and the first morsel of rice is prasadam out of the Nevedyam offered to Śrī Guruvāyūr. That's where it all started. And I give it to my mother. She was an ardent devotee of Guruvayur. There was no day that passed by without she listening to some song or hymns that are offered to Guruvayur. And there was almost no year that passed by which we didn't go to Guruvayur when we were living in Bangalore. When we came to Guruvayur, and if I miss a darshanam, it'll be like as if I lost my entire life. I mean, that's the kind of connect. About 17, 18 years ago, I had come here on a visit, and I met my family priest. And he told me something very unique that is attached to this temple of Guruvayur, which is called bhajanam. We'll talk a little later about bhajanam. And that gave me an inspiration to come to Guruvayur to stay for 1 full day in the temple. And it happened after some time. And when I came there and stayed in the temple for the whole day, something really miraculous happened to me. And that happening changed my life, my thinking for the rest of my life. I was really at the peak of my career. And I was in Bangalore, traveling all around the world. But something told me I need to come back and settle down my life in Guruvayur, with Guruvayur. And he made it happen. And he made it happen such that my entire family has moved to Guruvayur. We've been living here very close to the temple since October 2020. We physically have moved towards him, right? So there is something called as samipyam. We have moved towards him. Yeah. Then there is sarupyam, salokyam, and then sayujyam. So we are in the journey to move from samipyam to one day get sarupyam, lookalikes, then salokyam, be in his world, and then one day merge with him into sayujyam. We are in the journey right
now. I have a few reflections here. One where you mentioned that the whole part about samskaras, what the parents can offer to the child through just their bhakti, their own way of living, and the impact it can have on a child and their journey as they grow up. The whole idea of samskaras in Hindu dharma. The whole idea of the Veda being the adhisthana for dharma, but Bhagavan himself residing in the Veda and dharma emerging from Bhagavan himself. And the whole importance of bhakti and the purification it can have on the chitta. These were some points I gathered from your very beautiful reflection of your journey.
Yeah,
And how
he's a dharma
connected.
samrakshaka. He is a dharma samrakshaka.
And it's just how connected everything is in our dharma as well, in different ways. So Bhagavan as dharma samrakshaka. With that, can you also tell us, earlier you had mentioned that bhakti impacts or different people experience him differently at different times. So can you tell us more about the experience of bhakti and how it can impact an individual and the surroundings of that individual?
Yeah. The experience of bhaktas, how you see him is the way you experience, especially in Guruvayur. Some of us at some times see him as a small little child. So you experience him as a child playfully. I said the temple is like a phenomenon, right? You can see a small little baby who has come for the first meal as Śrī Krishna, and you'll start experiencing Śrī Krishna in that baby, right? So some of us go to him as if we are going to an eternal mother, and the Matrubhava from him starts flowing onto us. Some of us see him as a teenager, lovable teenager. Then the Rasanubhava there is Madhuryam. With all these happening, above all, the energy form at Guruvayur is that of an eternal healer. The eternal healer aspect, in my opinion, has brought the temple to a different level as a kṣetra. Most everybody coming there want to heal themselves at various levels of their own life. This I want to quote from Melpattur Narayana Bhattatri's work. Narayana Bhattatri sat inside the temple for 100 days. And each day he wrote one canto. Right? One canto is one topic, imagine. So 100 cantos. He took the Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahapuranam, which has 100,000 shlokas, and he concised it into 1,035 shlokas in Sanskrit. And he wrote the entire 1,035 shlokas over 100 days. And he was having extreme levels of arthritis. Extreme levels of arthritis. And the legend goes that he was completely cured. So, we can get cured for physical sickness, mental sickness, psychological sickness, any kind of pains or dukkhas. But he is not standing there just for curing our physical sickness or mental sickness. He is standing there for us to get in touch with him at a different level, right? At a level where I can get in unison with him. At a level I can find the Śrī Krishna inside me, that I don't externalize it anymore. So, once again, I said this in my previous reply, that journey is what I'm experiencing, to be in unison with him. I think that experience will not be something that I can articulate whenever I touch it.
From Samipyam to Sayujam, Sayujam cannot be articulated.
Yeah, Sayujam.
Certainly not. So I just love how you spoke about the different bhavas, because we can look at that's what makes it so beautiful, right? You can have a very personal relationship with Bhagavan. You can look at him as a mother, a child. You can experience him as a protector. That very beautiful freedom, and freedom to experience is what bhakti and Hindu dharma gives to any bhakta.
I would like to add a point here.
Hmm.
Subramanya Bharatiyar,
Hmm.
a famous poet, Tamil poet,
Yes.
has sung many songs. Kannan in Sevagan means he's my servant. Kannan in Kadalan means he's my lover. That whole experience can be done over here. And that's what I was trying to say. How
Hmm.
you look at him is the way you'll experience. Yad bhavam tad bhavati is a perfect answer for this in this temple of Guruvayur Kshetram.
Absolutely. I think even in the Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna mentions that I appear to you in the form that you visualize or serve me as, or love me as, imagine me as. You also spoke about Bhajanam RK earlier, and how it inspired you to spend a day in Guruvayur. I would like to ask you, what are some of the unique sadhana practices, such as Bhajanam, for example, at, practiced at Guruvayur temple?
So I'll go back to the bhakti forms.
Yeah.
There are 9 different forms of bhakti. They call it Navavida Bhakti.
Mm.
We all must have heard about it. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Archanam, Padasevanam, different forms. If you look at Guruvayur, we can find most everything in one form of sadhana or the other. For example, Shravanam.
Mm.
As you're entering the temple, you can start hearing Narayana, Guruvayurappa, Narayana, Guruvayurappa. That actually melts you down. I don't even know whether we can classify it as a sadhana. It is so natural to call out and go in. Yeah. If you go to Mathura, the cycle rickshaw guy, the tricycle rickshaw guy, he doesn't have a bell to move the people around who come across. He'll say Radhe Radhe, and people will move around. Here, similar feeling. When you're just about entering the temple to go see him, Hare Krishna, Guruvayurappa is the screaming of each of those people. So, Nama Japam is one of the sadhanas.
Mm.
You can, of course, exalt and go there screaming, or you can sit in one corner silently and keep doing your Nama Japam through the day. That's a very, very powerful and unique thing that you find in many devotees at Guruvayur, the Nama Japam. Harinama Kirtanam. Somebody may be doing Harinama Kirtanam, singing his songs in their own corner.
Mm.
You can also see many people sitting with some books, which will either be Srimad Bhagavatam or its concised form, Srimad Narayaniyam. So, daily you can see devotees sitting there and doing the sadhana of complete Parayanam of the Srimad Bhagavatam or Narayaniyam. They may do it over 7 days, over 41 days. They may have their own paced way of reading it, but they do the sadhana of reading this. These are Shravanam and Kirtanam.
Mm.
Right? You can even sit in a corner and listen to somebody chanting these shlokas or doing Parayanam of these Mahapuranas, or you can do it by yourself. Shravanam, Kirtanam. Archanam, you can see people worshipping, remembering him all the time. Once you're inside the temple, each person is to himself. Right? That is Archanam. Vandanam. Devoting oneself directly to the feet of the Lord. You can see people doing Namaskaram. That's a kind of sadhana. Do it. You see it in many temples. Here you can see one more thing. They do Anga Pradakshanam, of Parikrama of the temple. They do it by rolling around the Parikrama of the temple. Yeah? And then Pada Sevanam. All these forms you can see in different bhakti forms. What I can't explain is the dasyam and the Atmanivedanam. See, the dasyam is how you feel towards the deity, not just doing some service. How you feel towards the deity, like Hanuman to Śrī Rama, right? So, dasyam and Atmanivedanam is something that one will have to experience sitting there, giving yourself to the deity as if nothing else matters. And when you watch devotees around, you can actually start feeling their Atmanivedanam to him. They themselves give their whole to the deity there. So, in my opinion, I can find all forms of bhakti in different sadhana forms. At the temple, you can just walk around the temple and find it, not just in front of the deity.
I have experienced what you said in the beginning. In my last visit to Guruvayur, we had Nirmalya Darshanam at 3:30 a.m. in the morning after waiting for the entire night. And we were one of the, amongst the first 40-50 people to kind of enter the kṣetra. So we were standing outside those massive gates and everyone was just waiting for the gates to open. And the moment they opened, everyone started rushing in with that Hare Krishna, Guruvayur. I don't think I'll ever forget that whole experience. And of course, I've also heard my mother doing the Narayaniyam Parayanam, Srimad Bhagavata Parayanam all these years that I have been growing up as well. I would also like to ask something related to Dasyam Bhajanam specifically. Can you elaborate a little more on Bhajanam and Dasyam with respect to the Ambalavasis in the kṣetra, how they come together to serve the deity?
That's a very important aspect of it. I will touch Bhajanam first and then go to the Dasyam. Bhajanam is a unique form of sadhana at the temple of Guruvayur. Some people take it as 7-day bhajanam, 21-day bhajanam, 41-day bhajanam. I took only 1-day bhajanam, and then that brought me to Guruvayur permanently. The bhajanam naam goes like this, that you don't live in some, you don't stay in some hotels or something. You go to some people who can host you. Humble houses that are there, families, they host you there if you're having a bhajanam, right? And then you go to the temple as soon as it opens in the morning at 3:30. Ever since it opens, you go into the temple and you start doing this connect with the deity, whether you're in front of the deity or you're anywhere in the peripheral, near the peripheral walls of the temple. But you're not going out of the temple. You're sitting inside the temple. You're always doing something to get in connection with the deity, with the divine. Either you're doing Nama Japam. After some time, you can start probably doing some Parayanam. Then you may do some Parikrama. Also doing Nama Japam as you do Parikrama. You can do some Pranayama with his Nama in your mind. Finally, maybe stand in the queue, still see him, come back and do the same thing all over again. And then when the temple closes for the noon break, after 2 o'clock, you go back to the humble dwelling that you're in with and eat what is cooked in their house, which is offered in their house at the puja, not in some restaurant. So you're also doing Sharira Shuddhi by having sattvic food. Atma Shuddhi in the temple and food with Sharira Shuddhi with sattvic food. And then you come back as soon as the temple opens in the afternoon, post-noon session, and you're there in the temple all the way until it closes in the night. Until the temple deity goes back into the temple after an elephant procession, something like 11:30, 12 o'clock, only to be back next day at 3:30. So your sleep is only that much, and your connect with the divine is ultimate in bhajanam. I have not heard any other temple which has this kind of a sadhana, where the real bhajanam people don't even talk to each other, even if they are husband and wife. They will just go with ishara. This means we have to go, come here, something like that. Very strict people are there. They don't even talk. They are continuously in touch with their own Krishna within. Now coming to the service by the Ambalavasis. They're called as Ambalavasis. Ambalam means kṣetra, temple. Ambalavasis means who reside around the temple and for the sake of the temple. Like, for example, the male Shanti, the chief priest. We'll talk in the next episodes more about the male Shanti. I'll just give a one sentence. For 6 months, he doesn't go out of the outer wall of the temple at all. He doesn't see anybody other than the people inside the temple. Yeah. He is chosen from a set of families who are only meant to be the priests. Then there are Kirshantis, who are also certain families who are dedicated to being Kirshantis there, who support in the alankaram of the deity, in the pujas of the deity, in the procession of the deity, all of that. And there's also an ecological balance there. Economical, ecological balance. Okay. So there are priests, then the sub-priests, imagine. Then the people who play the drums, the bugle, all that in the Kerala form of music. Chande Vadyam is Panchavadyam, Chandavadyam. They are all called Marars, and they are also dedicated. Their families are dedicated to this temple. They may go out and play elsewhere, but they will come back and get to play for this temple during different puja timings, during different procession timings, right? And then there are people who make the garlands. They are dedicated. They're so dedicated, they don't have any other profession. Their life is so simple, amazingly simple. Okay? They do it as if they will do it for their own child. I see them as the Yashodas of the Kali Yuga. They are so joyful when they prepare one single garland. And how Yashoda would have put it on Sri Krishna in the Dwapara Yuga, that is what they do here in the Kali Yuga. And then, of course, there are securities, right? And then there are cleaning people, administrative people, all of them. One thing unique was, there's one family which prepares curds for him. The curd offering that goes for different bhog, nivedyam as we call it here. There's a small little room. This family, a member from this family, has bath and comes to the temple with the milk and prepares the curds and shuts the door and goes away. And they come back the next day and to offer, take that and give it to the priest to offer it to the deity. This was a very moving thing. They don't have any other profession. They'll only prepare the curds for the deity. There are some families amongst the Kirshantis who does the grinding of the chandanam, the sandalwood paste, which is used to do alankaram on the deity and given to us as prasadam. So there's an economical balance of different levels of people taken care by doing sevas into the temple. And there's an ecological support by different people around the temple to make sure that this happens without anybody even calling out for things. It'll just happen. You will see that the elephant is coming. You will see that the deity is coming out, and they will go in. Nobody will be telling them, yeah, this is the time, the next announcement, or calling somebody to bring the elephant. No, it will happen better than a clockwork. So it's a beautifully balanced temple in terms of all the activities happening there, and supported by these families who have dedicated themselves to this temple.
So it's a proper ecosystem.
It is an ecosystem.
And so beautiful how the temple supports not only the economic security of these people, but the Atma Tripti.
Yeah.
It's a complete Atma Nivedanam.
It is another form of Atma Nivedanam. You can imagine that lady or the person in their family coming and offering the curd. They don't have any other work, only this. And they live a simplest form of life. And it's, for me, you rightly said, Atma Nivedanam.
The sheer joy that it affords, that bhakti affords to the person. My guru says this always, that Bhagavan is delightful. The bhaktas of Bhagavan are even more delightful. Their stories, they teach us so much.
The Bhagavan's name gets into fame because of the bhaktas. That's what Bhagavata Puranam says. It is not the Bhagavan who is famous by himself. It is the bhakta who makes him famous. That's why it's called Bhagavatam, because they are the stories of Bhagavatas. It is not the story of Sri Krishna or any of the deities. It is the story of the bhaktas and their experience with the divine.
And there's a space for every form of bhakti in this whole gamut of...
Absolutely. Absolutely, without a doubt.
I also had another thought. Bhajanam, these different practices, these different offerings, are they like a tapasya, like a cleansing process that's undertaken moment to moment, day to day, day after day?
Beautiful. When a devotee first starts coming to Guruvayūr, he's almost like a visitor. He doesn't know what's happening there. He comes there like a visitor and undertakes this journey. Something he gets hooked up to. And then he says he wants to come there once again. You ask him, what is it? He or she will not know what is it. They'll say, I want to come back to Guruvayur. Something like a fish getting hooked to a hook. This is like a divine hook that one gets hooked up to. Over second and third and fourth, he will slowly move away from the outside paraphernalia of the temple. He will start moving inwards. And then slowly the journey moves into a true seeker. There are times we don't get darshan and we come back. And we come back without a disappointment. That is the journey from being just a visitor into the temple, who would probably get angry if I don't get darshanam, to moving closer and inwards into the temple to see the deity, and also moving inwards into self, that even if I don't see him, I can pick up a collective energy from the temple and its environment and move towards a shantam. Right? Move towards a shantam, and that shantam comes out of a tapasya. Like my teacher, Shri Raghu Anantanarayanan, he once told me about Nandi in a temple. Where does the Nandi sit? Nandi sits quite away from the Shivalinga, that is right inside. right? How long does he sit? He sits eternally. Okay? Does he get angry if people are coming around? No. Does he get any asmita that he is very close to the deity? No. He is still sitting there. Does he feel any ownership? No. He's waiting for the master. And it's good to be watching him. That's good for him. I felt the same thing in me after a lot of journey into Guruvayūr. Otherwise, I was one of them. If somebody crosses the queue, I used to get wild. Why are you crossing this queue? Why don't you come back? I will play by the rule, right? Play by my emotions. Now it's more often than not that I see, that's fine. I'm in this divine space. You know, while the total Shakti is right there in the Sanctum Sanctorum, my tapasya is not only right there. My tapasya is in that Punya Bhumi. You know, my energy, I can feel that energy all around that I am when I am around in that place. So it's a great tapasya. It's a great churning that happens into one individual through the journey as a seeker. I'm not saying there's no chaos around. The chaos remains. I move in.
There is a certain amount of contentment, shantam, as you said, that Bhagavan is right there and he is also within, he is around.
Absolutely.
He is literally everywhere.
Everywhere. That feeling of being everywhere, not just saying, oh, Bhagavan is everywhere, versus the feeling of being everywhere. Feeling of experiencing it everywhere is possible in Guruvayur.
As you said, it connects back to the eternal weight of Nandi, the love, the bhakti that Nandi holds for Bhagavan Shiva that makes Nandi Bhagavan such a great guru for all of us. And also Prahlada takes me back to him. The unfazing love that he had for Bhagavan Mahavishnu, and at the end he appeared out of a pillar. Prahlada actually saw him everywhere around him.
So the question here is, can I find the Nandi in me? Can I find the Prahlada in me? Not the Prahlada that is there in the Purana. There is one Prahlada inside me. Can I wake up that Prahlada in me? Can I wake up that Nandi in me? I'm going back to my journey. That tapas, that churning. Surely a tapas.
That's a question for all of us to hold, all of the viewers who are watching with respect to their own ishta.
We can experience it. One day, one little teardrop will fall down. As we are seeing the deity, as we are walking down, without our knowledge. That moment may be the moment when I touched the Nandi in me. That may be the moment that I touched the Prahlada in me. And I have vanished back because of my samskaras. So the more churning I have, the more work I do within myself, the more longer probably that I will be in that location of a Nandi or Prahlada.
And that is what this whole space also kind of facilitates for each bhakta, for each of those Ambala Vasis.
Very much.
The whole idea of being in Bhagavan's presence, being touched by it, and being touched by his kripa, that itself is santosha. I'll move to the next question, again connecting. How important, so you spoke about bhajanam and how people stay at homes of different bhaktas, and So how important is the role of this kind of a very supportive and a tuned in community in ensuring that the traditions of the temple continue, that uh, the the whole ecosystem is facilitated and there is that whole continuity?
Apart from whatever I have mentioned about those families dedicated to those services to the temple, which continues the activities of the temple, the temple as such provides quite a bit of platforms for the culture to continue, right? Beyond the temple, there is an ecosystem, right? For that to continue as well. For example, as I said, my first morsel, it starts with my chorun, right? Right from there, people celebrate birthday going to Guruvayur, not to just cut a cake, but to be in that space. I want to be in Guruvayur on my birthday. There are thousands and thousands of marriages that happens in Guruvayur. Trust me, it is not in front of the deity at all. It is outside the outer wall of the temple. But they just simply want to be married at the Punya Kshetram of Guruvayur. So the temple offers space for them, right, to get married. The temple provides space, a mantapam, a priest, okay? So they encourage these cultures for its continuity into the overall ecosystem. There is a platform there which is called as, I think it's Melpatur Narayana Bhattatri. No.
It would be like a sabha mandapam, a
Yeah,
space.
it is a mantapam.
Huh.
I will get the name. It is a mantapam. Every day, there is some or the other performing arts happening there. Maybe Bharatanatyam, maybe Kathakali, Kuchipudi, Carnatic music, singing, instrumental, somebody is playing some instruments. So these art forms are also being maintained over there. So people from across the world. Last week, I was just coming out of the temple. One of the dancers came and told me, please watch my program and go. And then I asked her, where is she from? She's from Dubai. She's come there to offer her learnings in the art form to Guruvayurappan. Yeah. So now that platform is like overbooked. So the temple has made another platform. So that there are two performing stages there now. Okay. That is happening there. In the nights, you also see Kathakali. Okay. It's called as Shri Krishna Takali. So different Krishna stories are being performed there in the form of Kathakali. Okay. Then there is a hall there called Kootambalam. So there are days where there's something called as Koot that happens there. That's another art form. So inside the Kootambalam, the Koot happens inside the temple. So the temple provides various platforms for these cultures to coexist and bring continuity to this life itself, for that matter. Not a religion, not a caste, it is this existence in the form of either puja, individual sadhana, or somebody wants to exhibit their art form, somebody wants to sit and read some Vedam there, somebody wants to sit and read Puranas, all sorts of things can be done over there, and there is opportunity for everybody to reach to the divine in their own way.
there are all these things, and you had also mentioned in a separate conversation when I was talking to you about the temple utsavas, the different celebrations that happen. Especially, I would like to hear if you have experienced or if you know on Janmashtami, how is
We
the
will
temple?
talk only about Janmashtami today, and we will take up the entire Utsavas into another episode, because it will take a long time if I have to talk about all the Utsavas
Yes,
in
absolutely.
Guruvayur. Even Janmashtami, I will give you a brief outlook into it. Last year, we experienced Janmashtami in Guruvayur in a different way. Of course, earlier years also we've been there, but we'll see the deity and go away. But if you're in Guruvayur in the afternoon, after about 3 o'clock, you can see scores and scores of children dressed as Radha and Krishna and Radha and Krishna and Radha and Krishna, just coming to the temple dressed as Krishna and Radha. You don't have to go to Mathura, Gokulam and see whether Krishna is there. You can experience all of them on the streets, around the temple, in the shops, in the restaurant. They may be in Krishna form eating some dosa. It's beautiful. See, the puja of the temple is happening, and it will happen automatically in the tantric form. That is not going to get disturbed by any of these things. Right? That is happening in the tantric form there. While devotees come there and they themselves are dressed in Krishna's form. Somebody with feather on his head, somebody with a flute, somebody with some beautiful dressings, all sorts of ornaments, all sorts of dresses. Radha, Krishna. It will be beautiful to watch that. It happens only on Janmashtami day. Yeah, and there is no count on the number of devotees that come there. Dressed up like Krishna, I'm talking about. And they come from far and wide on Janmashtami day. It is a congregation of just faith. Just faith and an experience of that energy all around. I mean, I can't express it enough when I say the experience of that energy all around.
It's like Krishna and every little child.
Everybody there.
That whole temple bursting with exuberance.
Yeah. There are many, many lyricists who have experienced this through their songs, who say, I can see Krishna Leela as I'm walking around. I can see Krishna as I'm walking around. How could they do this? Not because they were just scholars to write a song or they were skilled to write a song. And they are, they have experienced this and they brought it out of themselves in the form of a song. Several songs. We will talk about songs in another episode.
Sure, that would be another delightful conversation. So, when you say utsavas, performing arts, annadanam, chorun, the temple is like a central, it plays a very central role in a bhakta's life, in a Hindu's life. Whoever is kind of attached to that temple, whoever yearns to visit and has these different milestones celebrated. So that kind of shows. And also, I've seen that Guruvayur temple is one of the largest crowd pullers as well of Kerala itself. People queuing up in large numbers.
Yeah.
All these different aspects, the whole tripti that comes when you offer something at the feet of Guruvayurappan, your art form, your curd, anything, any offering that you make. For me, I see it as how this kṣetra itself plays a very important role in holding together the fabric of Hindu society in Kerala, because so many people come from far and wide. Even my family, my extended families, we all plan trips to Guruvayur. How important that kṣetra is in
There is a
all our
Chembai
lives.
Vaidyanatha Bhagavatar Utsavam. Okay. In Chembai Utsavam, throughout, right from the morning all the way until night, until the temple closes, maybe some days even after the temple closes, there will be one form of art happening there continuously. And there, the temple provides this opportunity for amateur singers like me. Yeah, we get a 5 minute to perform on that stage. I don't want to reduce it to a performance on the stage. It is we get 5 minutes to offer something to Guruvayurappan. None of the people who are sitting in that audience are known to us. The only person known to us is Shri Guruvayurappan. And when I have had the good fortune of singing on that stage at the Utsavam, Chembai Utsavam. And for me, I was simply singing into the ears of Shri Krishna, Shri Guruvayurappan. And I felt I don't have to sing anywhere else after this. I have sung for the divine himself. And right from a 5-year-old, 4-year-old child comes and sings there or does Bharatanatyam performance, to stalwarts up to Esudas and above. They've all come. TV Gopalakrishnan ji, Esudas ji, all of them have come and performed in Chembai Vaidyanatha Bhagavatar Utsavam. All these things that the temple and the Devaswam manages are key aspects to hold this fabric together. Giving them an opportunity, at the same time, the person who's taking the opportunity feels it's an offering to the deity. You know, it's like a lovely push-pull mechanism to hold this fabric together. There are several festivities happening there. We will talk more in detail about each of those festivities. Day before yesterday also, on Sunday, there was a festivity called Illannara. Illannara is a festivity where people come and offer their bountiful of paddy. And the entire temple gets filled with paddy offered by different devotees. And after offering, he doesn't take it back. He takes one small little back home. It gets distributed across the devotees who comes from various parts of the country. It's a beautiful happening. It's very colorful in its nature, but it's got a lot of depth towards sharing, coexistence, and what I can give as well. Like I become a kuchela and go to Krishna and it's like taken in full glory. I offer one small little bundle of paddy and it's taken in full glory as if the whole world is offered to him. So it's a beautiful gluing factor in that fabric.
It's like the temple, the kṣetra, was conceptualized and created not just Guruvayur, but Guruvayur, of course, it plays a very important role. The very idea of a kṣetra, a temple, is created in a way that offers a platform for expression of the swadharma of an individual and the yearnings of the collective. It sacralizes that whole collective, that whole community, and it provides ways for the divine to be present, for Bhagavan to be present in every aspect of your life, and for you to experience that within yourself and in every happening of your life. I just find that empathy that this dharma has, Hindu dharma, the kṣetra, the whole idea of a kṣetra has for the individual and the collective. There's a lot of empathy in the civilization itself.
There's a lot of empathy. I want to add to your point. we can tell with full conviction that this temple was indeed established for this, but not all at the same time.
Hmm.
It's been an evolving process. Okay. I'm not sure the day one when the consecration happened, whether all of this was there. I'm sure it was not there. But from time to time, with various people experiencing their divine from within, with the connect of the temple, and various bhaktas coming in with different offerings to the temple, it has evolved over centuries to where it stands today. And I'm sure it's going to evolve from here. And millions of devotees are going to experience this in a totally different form, in a totally different level as we go further.
Absolutely.
So it's not just we set the temple and we got all the rules. It's a beautiful blossoming of a huge lotus, I can think.
It's the blossoming of
It's a
consciousness.
blossoming.
Yeah. With that, RK, I would like you to close with your experience that you had told me about earlier. One of your visits, one of your darshanas at Guruvayur, where you experienced the passage of time, where you didn't know how time passed and it was just you and Bhagavan.
Well, I was fortunate to have have somebody known to my cousin. So he took me inside the temple. And then I went there and I was like standing there. He said, you stand here. So I stood there and I was chanting all the namas and all the hymns that I know and a few songs in my own mind. And then he came suddenly, asked me to go in front of the deity again and come back to where I stood. And then I stood watching the deity, sometimes embarrassing because others are being pushed, but I'm standing there privileged. It was, when I went in, it was about 12:45. When I finished the final darshan, when he came and said, please prostrate here, I said, oh no, I have to go to the Dvajastambam and do the namaskaram. He said, don't talk about rules here. Do the namaskaram right here. Okay? And then that's when I turned around and looked. That's when I actually came back to myself. It was 2 o'clock. The passage of time was 1 hour, 15 minutes. I had not known anything about it. And then only tears rolls down my cheeks that I was one of those privileged ones. Not just privileged, something took me away from actually knowing that I'm standing there until he came and actually dislodged my location to show that, yeah, let's go home kind of thing. It's something to be experienced and not to be told at all. I feel people who have attained him speak very less. People who have attained him want to keep it within themselves because they cannot articulate it. Not because they are selfish, but they cannot articulate it. Also because each of our experience are unique to our own self, in our own location.
Thank you. Thank you so much, RK. One last question. I'm just curious. How is the alankaram of Bhagavan on Janmashtami Tithi? Is it something special or?
Every day is special. Every day is special. Your question brought tears into my eyes right now. Why is it so special? Because nobody knows what is the alankaram tomorrow. Nobody knows. The person who's doing alankaram The alankaram here are of two types. Morning, there is an abhishekam. We will talk about it in another episode about total
The puja paddhati.
puja paddhati. But I'll just briefly tell you. In the morning, there is a abhishekam that happens, shankhabhishekam. After that, he is dressed as if he's a small little baby in the hands of Yashoda with a small lay-on cloth just around to cover his modesty. Okay? Like we call the langot in Hindi, kaupinam in Sanskrit. A red color kaupinam is put on him, and a small little cloth is just put around his waist, not covering his body, just tucked around his waist. And with a golden flute, and with a fruit or butter in his hand. A very small baby. That alankaram is almost same every day. The alankaram in the afternoon, what we call as Uccha Puja, the afternoon puja, that happens between 11:45 to 12:45, somewhere around that time. At that time, a special sandal paste is used, not powdered sandal, some chemical sandal. Here, a proper sandalwood is ground by human. Big logs of sandalwood is ground, and saffron and several other mulika, we call it herbs, are added to it. Okay, and it becomes what is called as kalabam. Okay, from sandalwood paste, it takes a form of kalabam. With the kalabam, the person who's going to be doing the alankaram gets some kind of a, gets connected with some kind of a form. It can be Śrī Rama, then that day he will be Śrī Rama. It can be Balarama, that day he'll be Balarama. It just so happened on one day, it was April 9th, it was my birthday. I went in and it was true to my name. It was Radha and Krishna. Okay? Radha and Krishna. It was not Guruvayur. It was not Kutti Guruvayur, Shri Krishna. It was Radha and Krishna. Day before yesterday was a ultimate alankaram I saw. And that the whole thing is made out of sandal paste in the form of kalabam on the same Chaturbahu deity. I don't know how they get the skill, what the grace is on them. Okay, they are not sitting and practicing. And no 2 days are same. Day before yesterday, it was Shri Krishna with a conch in his hand and doing this, and water flowing from the conch to a what is called as Utsava Vigraham, which comes out for deity. No? That Utsava Vigraham also was made out of sandal paste. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. For the sake of Brihat, I will share that. You can probably add it to the video or someplace into the process for others to see as well. Because some person sketches this every day. Yeah. Today's alankaram gets sketched out and sent out to some of us through some friends and circles. So I get it. I'm fortunate to get it. I share it to several people. I can share it to you if you're interested as well.
Certainly.
So this was beautiful. Andandam Pindandam came to my mind. This Moola Vigraham is like a few feet tall. This Utsava Vigraham, we call that as Tadambu. That is made out of gold and silver. That Tadambu comes out on the elephant. So the Tadambu stays inside the Garbhagraha other times. So it's like this Krishna pouring Abhishekam material onto the Tadambu, his own form. So I felt the Andandam Pindandam right there. The Vishwarupam and the atom form. It was
The
very
macro.
beautiful. Yeah. What is in the universe is within you. What is within you is in the universe. And what you do is for your own self, like that. I do my tapasya so that I reach my own true self one day, potentially. So this was very beautiful, very moving, very reflective alankaram. So I'm not able to place one alankaram for this place. It's a very unique kṣetram where every day alankaram changes.
I have no words.
So on Krishna Janmashtami, I am not able to predict as to what the alankaram will be. It can also be one day Yashoda standing there with the baby. We do not know the alankaram.
Thank you, RK. Thank you so much. This was very, very beautiful and I would say moving. The last bit, especially, I could see some images floating around in front of my eyes. And thank you for sharing all these insights with us. I think we learned quite a bit about the Guruvayur temple today. I've gone there only as a bhakta and a visitor. I never knew much. So I learned quite a bit about the ecosystem, how it functions, the different utsavas, especially the alankaram bit. I think that's my favorite part from the whole conversation, the bhajanam, how bhaktas experience Bhagavan in different bhavas, your own story. That whole time passage bit is again something I really love, and the uniqueness of the Vigraham, Shri Krishna himself worshipping Chaturbahu Mahavishnu. That's something that shows interconnectedness, and I don't know how to express that, but very beautiful. We will continue to explore more of these things, the different facets in much more detail in the upcoming episodes. I would request everyone to stay tuned. And we look forward to speaking to you, RK, again next on possibly the history of the Guruvayur temple. And thank you so much. Wishing you and all our viewers an auspicious and Krishna-filled, very blissful Janmashtami. Shri Guruvayur Sharanam.
I'm just overwhelmed by the grace of the divine. I'm feeling amongst the billions who are around the world, feeling the chosen one to be part along with you to get this across on Janmashtami Day to all Brihat viewers. I'm really looking forward to the next set of series that is coming by. I'm just seeing grace flowing all across. Wishing everybody a blissful Janmashtami.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.